streaming live to YouTube. We are sharing our screens. Bink, bink, bink. All right. We got we got this it's deploy day. It's Thursday. It's deploy day. It's ship or die day. That's what I'm calling Thursdays now. Ship or die. Why? Because we decide whether the project's gonna be shipped or die. We made a lot of promises with this application, Pickle Juice, right? We want to deploy it, right? We talked a little bit about open spec, but it's kind of a lot of that was done off camera. I'm realizing now, so it acts as this sort of like invisible machine that y'all didn't get to see. I'm gonna mute the campus real quick because I'm getting some feedback. And anyways, yeah. So muting the campus. But feel free if you have something to say. And you want to mic up, I'll be checking the box in there. So, anyways, so I made some promises that I want to deliver on, right? It's Pickle Juice. It is Cucumber IO integration, BDD integration. We cannot apply this BDD, this behavior driven development, until we have users on Pickle Juice, right? So the whole cucumber.io gherkin language stuff, that is like, we can't do that until we have users. So we would need to ship this thing in order to even see that. We wanted some sort of community grading system that we talked about, right? Where people add things to their to-do list, but then there's a proof of work component where maybe they take a screenshot or something and their friends can be like, yep, they actually did the watercolor, or yep, they actually recorded the track, or yep, they actually like went on a run or whatever. So that when you're in create mode or consume mode and it's healthy, you could prove to people that that was what you did. We wanted a little bit of passive detection, right? This would mean that it'd have to be like a browser extension, that we'd have to work with some surveillanceware stuff that is a little bit seedy, a little bit grimy, a little bit not the infrastructure that a lot of us want to be working with from an ethical perspective, but it's what the people want, right? Yeah, so what this class we're gonna get on, right? We're gonna ship. We're gonna go from repo to public URL. We're gonna operationalize this thing, right? It might not be shipped to DNS if we don't like the program that much. I'm not gonna pay the $5 to $10 to get this thing up on a domain, but we can see it on Vercel at least for the day and maybe for the remainder of the week, because there's no cost to that, right? So it'll be like picklejuice.vercel.app, a URL that we can all visit. We're gonna flesh out some more ideas. We're gonna demonstrate OpenSpec, how we went from kind of vibe coding to actually working on the application, and then we'll concretely kind of split this thing up if we have interest in continuing work on this, because what I've seen with the other projects is they kind of die out because people take on too much responsibility, or they don't really know what they want to work on. So I'll kind of reiterate Git issues and pull requests, and we'll pull up in the GitHub, and I'll show people how I generally work on group projects after deployment to maintain them and to fix bugs, and kind of keep the thing going, right? So class one, on Tuesday, Pickle Juice. We figured out the problem. We named it. We got a little bit philosophical. Class 2 on Wednesday, we picked it apart. We dissected it. Today, ship or die. We're gonna ship this thing or it dies on the vine, right? And I know that sounds intense. We got to decide these things with our projects, right? So what I want to do today, the app will be on a URL. To anyone in chat, like here, watching the YouTube, the app will be a URL, and you should be able to get there, right? we're going to show the workflow a little bit. I'm going to talk more about OpenSpec and having parallel Claude agents run on your code. A lot of that happened off camera. I think that's the thing that most of you who are watching right now and interacting with the class haven't seen yet, right? And then I would love it if people in the class could actually be the first users to file issues against the live build through the GitHub repo, right? So last class, yesterday, I said I might deploy this thing, but I also might not. This is ship or die day. Um, uh, yeah. So shipping, right? We there was a good question yesterday where we asked what all right, somebody says that resource.support has a few open PRs from me and play. Awesome. Uh we can take a look at that later in class because that's good to know. So a past project that we work on has a few pull requests from collaborators, contributors on resource.support. What does shipped mean? We're going back to this, right? What does shipped mean? And I was wishy-washy yesterday. I'm sorry. What does shipped mean? And that's a horrible color. We'll make it gross red. Actually, no. We'll make it nice yellow, blue, blello, and big font. What does shipped mean? All right. What does shipped mean? Right. We're gonna get back into this. Right. It felt muddy. I feel like my definition of it was muddy. Right. So somebody's like, "Oh, I thought I understood that this was a shipping stand up." Right. And you never got a clean answer. Or maybe you didn't get the cleanest answer because I'm the one I don't really give the best answers sometimes. But here's my answer because I thought about it. I watched the videos of classes from this week, and I'm like, okay, I actually need this to land, right? Um, shipping. There's two ships in my mind. There's uh ship for users, right? Ship for users is actually shipped for users. Shipped green on blue. It's not accessible, but shipped for users. That's the intended user can use it without you, right? Shipped for users. The intended user can use it without you. There's a public URL. It works offline, maybe. There's an install prompt associated with it. If it's an executable, we're not getting 500 errors, right? And not the number 500, like 500 errors, separate errors. We're not getting 500 errors like when we run the site, like 404 500, right? The intended user can use it. That's basically ship for users. And then there's the lighter ship for builders, right? Ship for builders basically is just the code's committed, right? It's well documented. The next person, your team, somebody who wants to work on the open source project, somebody who wants to help maintain the project, the next coder can pick it up, right? In OpenSpec, there's OpenSpec archive, right? And so when you ship for builders, the spec is the source of truth for builders, right? The spec, the specifications. We use OpenSpec to build out specifications for the projects. We use it to build out this project, right? So let's go back to our app, right? I will run this npm run dev on Pickle Juice. All right, I'm gonna give that a clear, gross, clear. CD Pickle Juice. NPM run dev. All right, so we're getting the app working. Somebody says shipped is a state of mind, a happy place we all want to go. Somebody says mine is just one little line. I still need to try the dummy env, so uh, I can have more lists of changes I want to make. You can also create your own Supabase to host it and run it locally. I can show you how sometime. Ooh, even just knowing that will help me get Claude to put me in the right direction too. Supabase. What do you? They're talking about getting resource.support up and running with Supabase, and yeah, a dummy env isn't going to get you there if the entire program is set around working with Supabase. So you would need to make sort of a dummy Supabase as well, right? So whoever says you can also create your own Supabase to host it and run it locally, ding, 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 that is the right answer to working on past projects that are lacking that sort of database connection because we did not post the env to GitHub, because all of our GitHubs are open source. Anyone from YouTube watching this can go and look at the GitHub. We cannot give them access to our API keys, our Supabase keys, our entire database, the means to basically destroy the program, destroy the data that the program has. So anyways, Pickle Juice, light mode. What are you doing right now? Tap a category to start tracking. We can do a Pomodoro mode, which will give us a 25-minute on, 5-minute break, right? I'm creating right now, I believe. What are you creating? No active to-dos. Add one in the to-dos tab or pick freestyle. All right. I'll add one in the to-do tab, I guess. To-do, teach coding shipping class. Actually, let's change this to ship pickle juice. Ship pickle juice to test Vercel app. See if users like it. I guess I don't know. All right, so ship pickle juice is one of our to-dos. We can go back to home, create ship pickle juice. So that's what we're working on. And it knows we're working on this. And it's timing it, right? All right, we created it for 10 seconds. Cool. Let's look at my stats. Today, I created. Yesterday, I consumed. All right, so it's doing the local storage thing. It's seeing what I did yesterday. I didn't track myself yesterday. Um, and then if I wanted to maybe watch some cool YouTube videos, I could put them in here. So let's see. All right, we'll see what. All right, cool. So this is a video. Anthony Fantano. Anthony Fantano talks about why geese doesn't deserve the hate. And this could be leisure, this could be research if it had to do with the project that I'm working on, but I'll say it's leisure for now, right? And so then if I went to consume, we'll say leisure, and then it comes up with the videos that I can watch. So at least the videos have something to do with something that I want to learn about, right? So that I could talk about it more. All right, cool. So we'll freestyle leisure. I don't like how the links don't come up here. It just gives it to me kind of before. But that's something that we could definitely fix. That's like a UI thing. All right, so we're doing that. Stats, consume, create, can edit, You can delete. All right, cool. It's a timer. Blah blah blah. I can change my themes. I could see my XP. How XP streaks and themes work. You earn XP for every saved session. All right. I don't know. A timeline history would be cool. Stop versus pause. Um. Oh, okay. Yeah. Stop versus pause. That's a good point. Um. I noticed that when you stop the timer, it just closes you out of whatever session you were doing. There should be the ability to pause the timer. When we're doing Pomodoros, if like, you go into your 5 minute breaks, but you should also be able to pause the timer while creating or consuming. That should be another state of the timer that the user has access to. Timeline history would be cool. I also feel like for the dashboard, I would love to see pie charts. I just like pie charts. I think when we're working with time, a pie chart makes more sense than a bar chart. But we can keep the bar charts there too, but add in pie charts. Um, I then also think that within the create and consume pages, when the timer is going, you should be able to see a list of what's in your consumption bank, research or leisure, and you should be able to see a list of to-do list items. In the case that you finished creating something, you can check it off while you're still in that create timer without leaving the timer page. I know, it's a lot. All right, so from what we've seen of the app right now, right? That was our quick demo, and I know it was so quick, and you're not pulling it up on your machines yet because it's not on that Vercel link. But from what we saw of the app right now, and thinking about these two definitions of shipped, right? Shipped for builders, shipped for users. Um, uh, what like if we had to rate Pickle Juice today, uh, is it shipped for users? Could it be shipped for users on a 1 to 5? Right? Um, is it shipped for builders? Rate that on a 1 to 5. Uh, so let's do shipped for users. Feel free to mic up or post in the chat. 1 through 5. Uh, is it shipped for users? One through 5. Feel free to mic up. Feel free to post in the YouTube. And if you're having issues with campus, feel free to watch from the YouTube.
I would say for users, you're probably around 2.5. I think we're at like minimum viable product area there. And for builders, I think we're a little bit further along for 3 because there's a pretty solid foundation. We have the frameworks established already. We have the general direction and the feel of it. We're just kind of expanding on features.
Cool. Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I get from it too. Um, we got another person in the chat. 2 for users, for builders 3. Yeah, that's around what we're doing here. So and I was thinking about last class, right? I said something to the effect of like, friends are bad critics. And that's not to say that we aren't friends with each other here in the Learn to Code, Ship or Die, Pickle Juice class. But shipping something for users, I think part of the shipping for users criteria that you should work into your mind that's a little bit subjective, right? Shipping for users is being able to confidently give your thing to strangers. I think is a good criteria for shipping to users, whether or not that's like a successful shipping to users. You're giving your thing to strangers, not friends, maybe some friends, right? So today our goal is to get pickle juice to the place where we could give some pickle juice to some strangers, right? You know, they usually say stranger danger. I say give some pickle juice to a stranger, right? And that's what we're doing today, right? Give your pickle juice to a stranger. That's actually not thinking about it. That's anyways, give your pickle juice to a stranger day. So this invisible engine, open spec, right? Open spec. What are we talking about when I say open spec? I've said it like 900 times. So open spec, right, is Fission, open source. Basically, it's a free sort of framework that produces a spec from the requirements of what you're putting into your project. When we use it with Claude, we're basically asking Claude to provide us specifications for a project. Why is it easier for Claude to work from specifications than from your prompt? Why, right? Why is it easier to prompt specifications and then have Claude act off of those specifications? Because it puts the computer language into computer language, right? When we're working with AI, we want the computer to do computer stuff, right? Um,
Job is done.
and from my perspective, when we veer into this world of getting the computer to do like subjective, philosophical, creative labor, we actually lose sight of the fun of coding things, right? Get Claude to build the timer. Get Claude to set up the test-driven development, right? Uh, and OpenSpec helps us kind of approach that from the language and the wording of programming, right? Is Claude prone to hallucinate within OpenSpec documentation? Yes, just as much as anything else, right? But we can audit the OpenSpec documentation that we've made. We can audit that specification. If you can read, you will be able to see like, oh wait, I don't remember talking about that. Why does the OpenSpec do that? You know, it's
Job is done.
We're stuck on this like semantic, stochastic layer sometimes with the AI, where your sentiment may not be getting through your prompts, right? So and working out specifications can sometimes help us understand like, all right, this is the program I'm building, you know? Maybe Claude hallucinates something that actually gets you closer to the program that you're building. That'd be lucky, wouldn't it? Sometimes that happens. More so than not, it will hallucinate something that is not what you want in your program, and you can kind of tease that out, right? So this matters when we're working on a team, right? Because there's a work tree mechanic that this OpenSpec has, right? So if we go into the docs of our project and work trees, I think these are available on the GitHub. Let me check first. I don't want to be pointing you towards something that. All right. So yeah, if we go into docs here, we actually have access through the GitHub to this work trees file, right? And you can see work tree 1, 2, 3. Those were ones that we instantiated on Tuesday, and then 4, 5, and 6 we ran yesterday, right? So and then I'll post the link to this. So this is how OpenSpec chose to kind of make the roadmap for this program, right? And so as good developers, we check our code. We want to know what Claude is doing and has done. We might even want to look at the literal code and be like, this is what this line does, right? So with this work tree, right? We can also see is this in here? All right, docs, work trees. Is there changes? Did changes get pushed? We don't have any changes here. So something that OpenSpec will do is it will add. Oh wait, no, that's in changes. All right, let's see if we can open that. All right, so Pickle Juice, docs, scripts, public, open spec, changes. All right, so add gamification in queues. All right. So the way that OpenSpec specs out these changes that we make to our code when we're like kind of live vibe coding is it creates these changes folders that then spec out the descriptions of what we're trying to do. Puts it into more eloquent programming language, right? Not programming language, but like code, like something that another person of maybe a more technical stripe would be able to follow, right? So the proposal.md, this is like a markdown file, right? And so this kind of provides us the what and why of the change that we propose to make, right? The add gamification in queues. So this one says V1 of Pickle Juice is a passive ledger. It tells you the consume versus create ratio after the fact, but it doesn't change behavior in the moment. So this gamification change, the goal was to kind of make it more of a fun process and get people to learn about their behavior and potentially change their behavior, right? To brainwash people, right? No, I I don't know. And then the tasks. So then we have specs here, which actually build out the specifications of the different components that it may build, right? This is where we get that gherkin-ish requirement wording, right? And what do I mean by gherkin? Remember gherkin? Gherkin was the tool that we wanted to plug into Pickle Juice, right? So gherkin is uses a special set of keywords. When we build out specifications, we use like user story language. You know, user story language, right? I don't know if that's what it's called. User stories, right? As a user, I want goal, so that reason. As a user, I want this timer to tell me how much time I spent creating, so that I know if I'm being a good creator or not. I don't know. That was a weak spec, but what Gherkin does differently is it goes from behavior driven development, right? So it provides things in scenarios. So the scenario is the maker starts a game. When the maker starts a game, then the maker waits for a breaker to join. I don't know what that means. Sorry, but I just don't. So we'll go to our own project because we can understand our own project. So in the time bank, we have this gherkinish language. This is the pickle juice. This is the diluted gherkin callback, right? This is what we were talking about in class 1. This is why we call it pickle juice, kind of, maybe. It came after the fact. What came first, the chicken or the egg? We do not know in this situation. But requirement first, right? Maintain a time bank ledger. This is the gherkinish language, right? The system shall maintain a time bank that records every credit and debit as immutable ledger entries, right? So this makes more sense. We're treating time as a currency. We're treating time as a resource, and then this application is a sort of ledger, right? That gamifies it because people love thinking about things in terms of money. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe this is a broken way to gamify something, but we're seeing it anyway. So, um, then we look at these specs, and you can dig through all this. It's a lot of text, right? This is like burning through tokens to basically build out the specifications, but Claude will have a better idea of what we're trying to build because of these specifications, right? So then we look into our docs. We see the work trees. We can look at W4 spec, right? And each one's around 1 page long. So this talks about read every spec top to bottom. There are 7 spec files under. So now this is setting up the waves, the agents, so this roadmap of how we're building the project. Claude will know to run certain things at certain times so that it doesn't have dependencies. We have to run wave 3 before wave 4. We have to make sure that we have the time bank set up before we have the gamification that happens on top of that. Something else you can kind of see, and I don't know if this is going to work actually, but we'll run some commands here. I'm going to open a new terminal. CD Pickle Juice, get work tree list. All right, so now we have a list of the files within work tree. We can CD Pickle Juice W5 data. I don't know if we have this built out yet. All right, so now we're within, and then I ls in open spec changes, right? So what I'm going to run now is what's referred to as a validate command, validating against the open spec tests that it's set up, these specifications, right? That's not set up. All right, so Pickle, what would you like to let's all changes in specs. All right. So here, see, maybe I'm blocking it on the, so we have what would you like to validate? We have that's the community grading. That change didn't take effect, right? Core tracking is there. Add gamification and queues is there. Enhanced timer and dashboard is not there yet. We don't pass the open spec test. So now we can see sort of the power of setting up your specifications for the project with something like open spec, right? Where we have now a bit of test-driven development sprinkled into our vibe coding, right? We're not passing our own tests. Something that is an issue to me with the way that OpenSpec and Claude set up these tests is they have a tendency of making what's referred to as happy path tests. And those are just tests that are like, we know the thing's going to work. We need those tests, right? We need to know that the map shows places on it, that the map is a map. We need to know that the test is a test, right? Happy path tests are necessary, but you need to add in testing that also, it's like community grading isn't there. We've just basically validated that change hasn't taken effect yet, right? We validated that the timer and the dashboard aren't enhanced to the specifications that we set up through OpenSpec. I know this is like a lot of information. We're trying to get this thing up to snuff for deployment, right? So, and honestly, this application needed a lot of work before it was ready for that today. So, and it still does, right? So again, why these things matter when you're working as a team is we have now the sort of team mechanics baked into the code. So one person can own the spec, because what we'll see from these changes is that if you're using OpenSpec on your machine, like the rest of the team that's using that's building on Pickle Juice, if you're using OpenSpec as a team, then you'll see like, oh, this change specification was made by VR Nico and Claude. You know, Claude is the co-author, likes to throw himself on there. You can change that in your Claude configurations, or just ask Claude like, hey, can you not make yourself co-author on everything? It makes me look like I don't know. And Claude will be like, all right, I'll back off, and then he'll get really sad and do a worse job because he thinks you're stealing all his credit, right? True story. Anyways, you know, I like having Claude around sometimes when I'm working with Claude, because it's like, you know, that's how I made the code. But we see that I made this spec for W4, that I made the me and Claude made the change suggestions, those specifications, right? So you have this authorship. It's great for working on something as a team, staying organized as a team, right? We see one person owns the spec. We see maybe another person owns the data. Maybe another collaborator owns the UI, and that we can all coordinate through a written contract that's held in the OpenSpec framework in our repository, rather than having, you know, those like thousands of meetings to go over documentation. And really what OpenSpec gives you the ability to do as a sole developer is scale that entire thing down to one human with 3 Claudes, you know? And so if you want to take this on the road and go solo, go lone wolf dev on it, you can even set up your Claudes as like separate agents. So you know that like, you know, maybe this Claude's not named Claude. Maybe this Claude is named Lance or something. And Lance is the UI guy, you know? And Sheila handles infrastructure, you know? And then, and I know this is weird, but it's like it can help because we have a tendency to personify, anthropomorphize, whatever. It's helpful. But if you're also working with other humans who are working with Claudes, then you could see how, first of all, you could create a vibe coded garbled mess of a project that's too many moving parts, or if we're all wielding OpenSpec or some other spec framework correctly, that it can be a way to sort of orders of magnitude 10x 100x the project, right? In terms of efficiency, in terms of what we're able to get done, in terms of the actual optimization of the program itself, right? So, yeah, Pickle Juice. Uh, I know. It's a lot. It's a lot of information coming at you, but I feel like we didn't get that moment um, with OpenSpec yet. I kind of just like breeze over why I use this, and I wanted to kind of like reiterate for everyone that specs are how we work as a team with Claude. It's how we render Claude into multiple agents. It's also how you could work as a team with humans, right? It's going to be the same tool, the same discipline across working with groups are working with multiple Claude agents. And what you're learning now seems complex because it is a complex thing to learn. It's not necessarily what you get from a coding boot camp or from taking college courses on C++ or whatever. You don't get that sort of applicable knowledge of what it takes to work in a team. What it takes to work in a team today in 2026 when we can vibe code is understanding how to set up your project so that another person can read it. And if Claude can read it, that's cool. But what about your friend who you want to bring on as a co-founder, or the new dev that's going to help you fix a database issue that you have? That's why when we build from a foundation of setting it up with OpenSpec or paperclip or whatever, that it just makes for a better project. Sorry, gotta let my dog out. Um, he's just like barking. Anyways, so spec first, right? We took this kind of half-formed idea, and now we turned it into proposals. We turned it into an application, right? But some of these specs fail, right? If we're looking at it, right? Gamification passes, but it could be better. Community grading doesn't. We never did that, right? So this was a student suggested idea. We also have passive detection was another thing. Maybe sort of a bug squash inbox. Maybe we could have something set up on the site itself so that when we ship it today, people that may not be privy to the GitHub repo could post their issues with the site, so that developers, that anyone who chooses to contribute to this thing can see firsthand what users are having a problem with. So I kind of want to take a poll, like don't have really a voting system set up, but if you want to mic up or if you want to post in the chat, which of these ideas should we flesh out before deploying the thing? Should we add community grading? Should we add the sort of passive detection? Should we create some sort of like feedback bug squash inbox for our future users? Remember, one of the goals today is pickle juice to strangers, right? Shipping pickle juice to strangers. So how would those strangers know about the GitHub? Is there any of these pathways that feel, or do you have like an idea that you want to, a change that you want to put in that is not one of these ideas? Community grading will hobble the app. Passive grading would be useful for the app itself. Then a bug report feature. All right. So would passive grading be like accessing like how would we do that?
Unsure. Where in the spec does it discuss passive? We should probably look at that.
All right. Uh Open spec changes. Yeah, I don't think we ever wrote about it anywhere in the spec. Um, let's see. Change add community grading would be where it lives. Changes. Changes. Okay, so it's not anywhere. Maybe it's in here somewhere. All right. Where
So
in
the,
OpenSpec do we talk about community grading, specifically passive versus active community grading? Maybe Claude knows. I don't know. It might not be written about. It, like that's the thing too about these like open spec set up solely through Claude. We have like an hour with this class, and I feel like you'll start to notice that sometimes Claude hallucinates on the specifications themselves, right? It'll uh, kind of reach into its memory of like, oh, there was a context window where we talked about this at one point, and so it throws it in. So OpenSpec changes exists
Job is
as an
done.
empty scaffold. Uh, all right. So it's just an empty scaffold. The only passive mention in the whole OpenSpec is passive detection of what the user is doing in other apps. If you want passive versus active community grading to find the natural places to currently empty, want me to draft it? No, I basically have an idea for what I would want community grading to look like. But I don't think that's something that we could build out in a day and discuss with the team. And we believe that it may hobble the app for now. So instead of having the community grading feature fleshed out, could we have a feature wherein the user puts in proof of completion of their creative task, and then we send that to Claude API, and it can either look at the picture or
Job is
the
done.
text and determine if the user actually did that creative work. So think about the different input for that. It would probably be text or a link or a picture that the user can input, and then that goes to the Claude API, and Claude determines if that is a valid check against whatever the task is that the user set out to do. And if it isn't, then they didn't complete it. Does this make sense? Is this something that we can build, or is this too complicated? Also, after this is completed, we want to build out a bug report feature because we are trying to get this app as close as possible to deploying on Vercel today. Somebody says, for community features, we would roll them out as user adoption grows. Otherwise, you'll be screaming into the void. Yeah. Um. Yes. All right. So this is where we get Gherkin. This is where we get behavior-driven development. You cannot have behavior-driven development without users, right? So we actually don't know
Job is done.
what this app will be like. Uh, All right, so yes, totally buildable in a day. Claude is multimodal. Text and images go straight to the API. Links are tricky input. Easiest V1 is to send the URL as a string plus user provided context. Claude reasons about it without fetching. Since server-side URL fetching adds size, security, timeout work, the API key has to say server-side anyway, so it lives in a Vercel function. Same backend can serve the bug report endpoint. A few things I want to nail down before I write the open spec changes. Fail UX. When Claude says no, this doesn't prove it, what happens? Lose the create credit, manual override, retry with stronger proof. Bug report destination, GitHub issues via an API. That'd be kind of cool. Email to hello@nico.com. That's me. Or a webhook. Scope, repurpose the empty add community grading scaffold.
Job is done.
All right. One, fail UX, manual override. Um, uh, Bug report destination. Ooh, it would be great if we could get that going to GitHub issues. Um,
I think a manual override's a good idea, but we should probably hide it at first. So maybe Claude's first determination on whether it's successful or not is just bad, because Claude can make mistakes. So maybe we have a retry or recheck button. And then if it then comes back again as this doesn't prove it, but you really want that credit for whatever reason, or Claude doesn't get what you're doing, then maybe you can override.
All right, I like that. All right, so we have a fail UX that actually retries. So it should ask the user, no, this doesn't prove it. Retry with stronger proof, or retry, and then the user can retry. And if they try to retry a third time, that's when the manual override comes up. But we want to make it somewhat hidden so the user doesn't just manually override their Pickle Juice tasks. Buh, 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 buh. That can go to a sort of moderated box at first, and then actually no, we'll just have it. Is there a way to use Claude's API to organize these bugs together into the same Git issues, or is this something that would be better handled by a sort of bugs or suggestion box that we check periodically? Scope, repurpose the empty. All right, so now that it's doing that, let's go to Vercel. So we'll go to Vercel. So Vercel is where we set up our site to be deployed. Where we could set up our application to have hosting. And we can also set it up with a
Job
database.
is done.
We could also set it up with a domain. All these things that are the stuffs that make a web application. So fail UX got it. Counter per submission, bug report spam. My recommendation: simplest, safest bugs land as issues in a private GitHub repo, not the public Pickle Juice one. So spam is contained. Vercel function rate limits. You triage when convenient. Clever adds 50 lines, but the function calls Claude. I don't know. I don't want to make a private GitHub repo to handle the GitHub. I just don't think that's too much. 3 combined change. Yes, both. All right. Pause. Or let's try to ship both. Yeah, the new campus does have better quality streaming. All right, so fail UX got it. Counter per submission. Um, let's go even simpler and just set up a bug reports box that we manually check now. I don't want to connect it to GitHub. I don't want it to connect it to a private GitHub issues. I feel like that's just asking for extra work maintaining. All right. Because this idea that Claude suggested, the bugs land as issues in a private GitHub repo, so spam is contained. Um, well, the spam would still be going to a private GitHub repo, right? So yeah, sure, we triage that, but it's like, you know, it would still be on somebody to check the private GitHub repo for the bugs and then transfer those over to the Git issue. It's honestly, it makes an
Job
extra
is done.
job for me. It makes an extra job for me that I'm not interested in doing. And then this clever same pipeline function calls Claude first to generate a clean title and tags. I like this idea, um, but we could also still experience spam through the bug reports box. Um, uh, yeah. So three quick options for the box: Discord, Slack, webhook. Uh, let's do the in-app admin page. Discord, Slack, webhook. Did you? A Matrix webhook? I don't know if Matrix has webhooks. I also don't know about making a spam channel. But
Job
the
is done.
hook shot. Well, let's just do C then, and do an in-app admin page. That's the easiest for now. We'll figure it out later. Uh, yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing. Is like, when you set up for the community to give you bug reports, you also are basically signing yourself up to be spammed by your community, right? So I think the admin panel is the best call for now until we kind of see what those bug reports are like. Um, uh, the it's not really a community contribution system. I mean, they could suggest, but more so the yeah, crawlers. You're going to be spammed by the community and also crawlers. Yeah, so like there are web crawlers that essentially are just looking for servers and input forms that they can test. Uh, so and that's something to keep in mind if you ever have like pseudo insecured VPS or something. You'll often see something like there was 36 tries to log into your server since the last time you logged on. And this isn't something that should scare you. It's literally just bots trying to test your password. If something exists on the internet, bots will be on it, right? Uh,
Job
and
is
there's all
done.
sorts of crawlers. There's crawlers that Instagram send out, TikTok send out. There's Google crawlers. There's more nefarious bots that are going to be looking at your site. But for the most part, when you see a web crawler or you see a bot on your site, just wave and let them pass by, right? All right. Can you just work on this? Thank you. I don't need the proposals. All right. Um, production domain is not connect git repository edge. We want to deploy this thing. Um, beep bop beep bop. All right, commit or branch reference. Forget what it's asking here. So now I want to show you just like a quick deploy to Vercel, and then we'll have a means to test this out as a class together. All right. So it errored. That's cool. I think it's because I used a weird no next.js version. Make sure your package deployment settings build multiple get blah 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 blah. I need this deployed to Vercel, but it's failing builds. Can you just check out the Vercel CLI and get this deployed so we can test out the link ASAP? Thank you so much, Claude. Yeah, so person in the chat says package.json and package lock in git ignore. That could be the case if it's reading directly from the Git repository. See, the important thing about Vercel is that Vercel is next.js, so it knows how to build a next.js program. So, what I just told Claude was essentially to troubleshoot the Vercel deploy and then get Vercel CLI to just deploy from our terminal. So instead of going through the cycle of going back to Vercel, working in their GUI to see what is erroring, looking at our GitHub repo, looking at our project, going into our terminal, and then trying to fix whatever configuration is throwing the error, maybe checking out the git ignore. It's already 11:05 and I want to just get the website up so we can see what a deployed web app looks like through Vercel. And this helps save us that sort of debugging cycle. Let the computer talk to the computer. So you were
Job is
right.
done.
You were right. Package.json root cause of the previous failure. The Vercel project is connected to the GitHub repo and was building from the repo root, which has no package.json. So the CLI deploy worked because it uploads only the link directory. Mwah. See, we kind of worked that out with our organic intelligence, but the artificial intelligence helped us do it way quicker than us going through those tasks. We're seeing kind of the power of applying Claude code to our projects now, right? My brain folds are pretty foldy sometimes. Yeah. Have you ever seen a dolphin's brain? Anyways, let's open up this. All right, so here's the link to the application. It's
Job is done.
Pickle Juice. All right, so here's something that's cool. Is it says install Pickle Juice on this device. So that was this PWA thing that we talked about, right? So if on my phone I go to this link, pickle juice, pickle hyphen juice dot or hyphen xi dot Vercel dot app. All right, so I have it up on my phone, and I will turn off this. Turn off all my weird video settings. Turn off my virtual background. So I have it open on my phone now. Bop, 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 bop. If I go to, oh, I have it open on Chrome, which is, maybe I should open it on Safari. But if I press this share button in the URL at the top, I'm given different ways to share the application. What you're going to want to do on Windows is go to the add to homes, or not on Windows, on iOS, is go to the add to home screen uh, option. So when you go to a website that you want to make into a PWA, a progressive web application, what you're essentially doing is sharing that website to yourself as an application. I know this seems weird, but this is how we get around not having to pay Apple to publish our applications, not having to pay the Google Play Store to publish our applications, and see how they work as an application, right? So when I add to home screen, I'm taken to this and I'm sorry, I should have hooked up my phone as like a screen share for this. I'm taken to this page. We have a cool little pickle juice icon, and then I clicked add in the top right corner, and now I have pickle juice as an app on my phone, right? Isn't that cool? That's freaking awesome. We made an application, you know? So, and I can open it and it loads as an app. It doesn't have any of the browser stuff blocking the UI, right? And I mean, for all intents and purposes, like, this is a great timer, right? This is a great timer application. This is a great way to bank your time spent creatively, your time spent consuming. Is it the best app in the world? No, it's not. It's just not. Um, is it a cool application? Yes. Does it work as an app on our phone? Yes. That's great. We haven't done that yet in this class. Is like taken the application idea and put it into the phone. And I wanted to show y'all how easy it is through turning your application into a progressive web app, having that build flow, being able to kind of make these quick applications that you can then test on your phone. So now I have the timer running, right? And this is an application that I could pull up on my phone. So, you know, maybe I'm having coffee with somebody that I want to work for, or somebody that wants to see the projects I've developed. I have applications on my phone now that I can show them that I built, that I've actively contributed to, right? Oh, I built this like this productivity application called Pickle Juice. It uses behavior driven development to basically provide the user a stats on how creative they're being versus how much they're consuming. The goal is to get people off of the doom scrolling applications and to be more creative with their screen time, right? And you know, maybe that's a bunch of buzzy sort of dev language, but what we did is we built a glorified timer that you can now show people on your phone, and that's cool. So, what's it called? Pickle Juice. That's how you say the name, I think. Uh, anyways, so it's called Pickle Juice. Um, keep working. Keep working on all this stuff, Claude. Let's get it to a point where people can actively make pull requests to the GitHub repo. Um, and if those pull requests are approved, then it should go to it should be it should go to the working Vercel application. I also want there to be an about page that says that this application was made by the Multiverse School. Link to the Multiverse School, the multiverse.school, and then also I want to see sort of a list of all the GitHub contributors uh under that multiverse.school shout out on the about page, so that people can use this to rep the code that they worked on. Thank you. All right, so now it's going to add in that little feature. Are we shipped? Are we shipped? Do we think we're shipped with what I've shown? We have it on the phone. Also on the phone, the bottom tab is like a little small. If we can make that bigger and then give it more padding on the left and the right so that the icons don't overlap with the sides of the screen. Thank you. All right, somebody said something that was I thought was a great idea in the Learn to Code class. And I'm gonna work it into my dev workflow with this Pickle Juice application, but also just with other applications. The idea. Let me scroll back a little bit. All right, so you have been talking so much in this chat that I can't find the exact Victor. If Victor's here, is Victor here? All right. Anyways, Victor S in the Learn to Code chat says just stumbled across a decent workflow for UI for us vibe coders. Tell whatever agent you are using to put temporary handles and sliders so you can move and scale stuff yourself. All right. So this makes it so you're not going back and forth with the agent to organize your page, because what I've noticed with Claude and with vibe coding in general is just like you're maybe have the experience of like trying to center a div. Claude is also bad at centering a div. While it does have, a built-in front-end UI workflow skill, you're wasting tokens by asking Claude to center divs. You're wasting tokens by asking AI to make the box a little bigger, right? To change the padding on, but doing these small like CSS changes are best left to uh you, right? To you, really. And so what this UI, um, yeah, what this little fix does, just stumble across a decent workflow, put temporary handles and sliders so you can move and scale your stuff, right? You can kind of build off of this idea, like prompt it yourself. For me, yeah, somebody in the chat says, I wonder if you could add handles, but also a customizable grid that you can tweak and snap to. Yeah, what we want is this sort of like WYSIWYG experience. What do I mean by WYSIWYG? What you see is what you get, right? So, the next step to this, and I don't know if Victor later explains this in the chat, you need to figure out a way to sort of like store that information, right? Because if you're just like playing around with handles and sliders, or the grid, you don't, there's no way to be like, all right, I like how this is, Claude. Uh, it may not have context of what you're looking at. So you need to maybe either like console log the CSS after you've changed it, or figure like ask Claude. There should be a way to store the changes that I make using the handles and sliders in this dev mode, or using the grid that we've set up in dev mode, so that you can lock that in for future changes. You're creating essentially like a WYSIWYG UI editor for yourself, right? This also helps get us off of this like UI UX trend slop that I'm seeing. You'll start to notice it like with Pickle Juice. No offense to the app that we just built, but with Pickle Juice, this is very simple, very light app, but like the emojis, the way that it looks is very vibe coded. And uh you know we did vibe code it, so we shouldn't be like too bummed out by that. But there are going to be people that look at your application and will not like the fact that it looks vibe coded, right? It looks kind of gross. It's got emojis, it's white, it's like the light mode is kind of intense. There's no way to change it to dark mode. We literally have to interact with it to change it to dark mode. There's no dark mode even in there, right? So yeah, I don't even know what this bookmarklet thing is. Uh, Drag this link to your bookmarks bar. Click it on any page to open Pickle Juice with the URL. That's kind of cool. Copy bookmarklet code. So this isn't built in yet. So we have like, it's shipped, but we have broken features, right? I like how you can change the Pomodoro length and the break length. And sorry, I'm kind of getting tangential now that we're actually looking at the application. Design wise, agreed with the folks in the class. It's not doing it for me. It is something that we should keep in mind too when we're building apps, but also when we're thinking about our business model. What is trend slop? Trend slop is something that is a bit of a new concept, right? But researchers asked LLMs for strategic advice. They got trend slop in return. When you rely on LLMs for input on things that are somewhat subjective, it's the way things are tokenized, the way LLMs work is like a stochastic uh machine, essentially. You're interacting with a large language models. So when you want that sort of like unbiased perspective, whether it's a business model or whether you're building out what you want to be a nuanced UI, you're going to get a clear bias, because it is just figuring out what the statistically most probable response should be for what you ask based off the words, because it's a language model, right? In business, what this looks like is leaders of companies of varying levels getting the same sort of strategic advice which comes down to like differentiation over whatever the opposite of that is. Um, in UI, what this looks like is boring UIs. And I'm sorry, Claude. I don't mean to insult you. I just don't think you have the UI figured out yet. When we look at a site like resource.support, the boring UI works for this, right? Because this application is providing you with resources. Anyone needs to be able to access this and get the communal resources that they're searching for, right? Boring UI works for this. For something that's called Pickle Juice, that's supposed to inspire you to create, this is lackluster, and it's not doing it for me, and it's not doing it for most people's, right? So there should be a pickle somewhere, right? There's a pickle in the app icon, nowhere else. Your profile maybe. um yeah, so it's not giving, right? The skankin' pickle. bring back bring back the skankin' pickle. We'll bring back the skanking pickle. All right, so um this is, I hate using AI image generation, but I don't have the time to make a skanking pickle. Give me a cartoon icon 3D render uh personified pickle that is skanking like the guy in the specials logo. All right, I'm sorry. We're gonna see what it does with that. I might have said some trigger guardrail words too. I don't know if do we know if AI knows what skanking is yet? Maybe, maybe not. Doing a dance called skanking, popular with ska, where you kick your legs as high as you can. Um, oh my God. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. Oh, okay. That's exactly what I wanted. I got the war machine to make this. Uh, it's ska. Is it a ska themed application now? Uh, pickle up, pickle up, pickle up, pickle up, pickle juice, pickle juice. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. All right, so we'll save this to God dang. I hate it, but I love it. What's that song go like? Oh, I love it and I hate it at the same time. You and I, and the skink and pickle and yeah. Yeah, like the suggested consumption videos should just be like all ska. Um, believe it or not, I know this is hard to believe, but I to my grave I will defend ska. I it's just it's whatever. The specials are great. The specials are great, right? As we get into like third wave stuff, obviously it's like a little bit worse, but I still will rep like Streetlight Manifesto or Catch 22. Um even yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't help it. Um don't hold it against me. All right, I need to find a place to save this. LTC Ba, 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 ba. Pickle Juice app. Folder images, maybe. Uh, all right. Slow gherkin. Um, okay. All right. We'll see. All right. Before you go to the next step, can you work in this pickle, this skanking pickle picture somewhere, maybe on the about page, and can we give the app kind of like a checkered ska vibe with more pickles? Maybe like whenever you complete a task, there's like a pickle emoji celebration or something. Thank you. You're killing me, Smalls. I'm sorry. All right, so uh, I have just taught the class not only how to ship an app, not only how to decide between shipping or killing an app, but how to ship an app and then how to effectively immediately kill an app with your love for ska and creating a chat GPT generated skanking pickle. So while Sam Altman's actively trying to end the world and maybe AI is being targeted at the war machine, we're making pickles dance with it, right? Back into the hands of the creatives. And that's what it should have been all along, right? That's what it should have been all along. But unfortunately, that's not the world we live in. Anyways, enough moping around. It is 11:30. We ended perfectly. Uh, Beautiful dismount. We shipped it. It's live on the Vercel app. You can make changes to the GitHub as well. I don't think I'm going to deploy this to its own domain, so the Vercel might die in like a week or so. But that doesn't mean that you can't pick up where we left off on Pickle Juice and uh, make it a make it its own thing, right? Um, you wanted to look at resource PRs. I do not have time today. I have to head out. I will take a look at them at some point later. I'm sorry. Um, what else? Yeah, check out the GitHub. Make it an app on your phone. Play around with this as an app on your phone. I do think that there's something to be said about having the timer, having the you know, all this stuff sort of plugged in. Um, I do think it's a useful, fun application um, that you could get something out of. Yeah, and let's see how that build works. It loads. It's like actively work. Ooh, it's got this gross checker here now. Um, I want to know where it put the pickle. Anyways, pickle juice is the I didn't add the handles that you can drag by yet. I don't even know if I want to go full checker mode on this. I might not push it. Somebody else made a Pickle Juice PNG. It's a virus. Don't click it. Oh, see, this one is way better than anything that AI could have made. I love it. That's great. All right. And with that on the screen, let's end it. Let's wrap it up. Thursday. I'll see you next week. Monday. We're going to be in the new campus next week, so things will be a little bit different, a little bit better. And we're going to work on actually like getting these applications to a point where they might be able to sustain some of us if we play our cards right, you know? Um True story, right? So thanks for joining me this week. It was awesome. We built our pickle juice application, Skink and Pickle. We learned a lot. We learned about OpenSpec. We learned about getting an application deployed, the limitations of defining time, right? And all of the rabbit holes and tangents that a developer runs into, right? So, uh, y'all have been great. I have been Neek. I will see you all next Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Code something. Code something over the weekend. Check out the GitHub for Pickle Juice. And I'll look at the pull request for resource.